The most powerful person in the room is usually the one who said the least. They're not shy. They're not insecure. They're playing a completely different game than everyone else, and they're winning. And I'm not talking about being quiet because you're nervous or introverted. I'm talking about strategic silence. Because here's the truth. In a world where everyone's fighting to be heard, the person who knows when to stay silent has a massive advantage. Let's go through it step by step. First reason. When you speak less, you create mystery. Think about it. The person who talks constantly, you know everything about them. Their opinions, their stories, their weekend plans. There's no mystery, no intrigue. But the person who speaks sparingly, you're curious about them. What are they thinking? What do they know that they're not saying? There's a psychological principle called the information gap theory. Humans are wired to want to close gaps in their knowledge. When we sense that someone knows something we don't, we become fixated on finding out what it is. This is why quiet people often seem more interesting than they might actually be. Second reason. When you speak less, your words carry more weight. There's an economic principle called scarcity. The rarer something is, the more valuable it becomes. When someone talks all the time, their words become background noise. People stop really listening. They tune out. But when someone who's usually quiet finally speaks, the room goes silent. The person who's been quiet the whole time says one thing, and it lands differently than if the loud person had said the exact same thing. Why? Because scarcity creates perceived value. Third reason. When you speak less, you control the conversational frame. Here's what I mean by that. When you're constantly talking, you're constantly revealing your position, your opinions, your weaknesses, your reactions. Other people can read you easily. They know how to push your buttons, how to predict your responses. But when you're quiet, you're gathering information while revealing nothing. This is a massive strategic advantage. In negotiations, in conflicts, in social dynamics, the person who speaks less usually has the upper hand because they have more information. But when you can sit in silence, when you don't feel the need to fill every gap, when you don't react immediately, you're demonstrating self-control. And self-control is power. Fourth reason. When you speak less, you notice more. While everyone else is focused on what they're going to say next, you're actually paying attention to what's happening. You notice body language, tone shifts, who's uncomfortable, who's lying. There's a concept in psychology called metacognition. When you're not constantly talking, you have the mental space to think about the dynamics of the conversation itself. You're not just in the game, you're watching the game from above. Now, there's a difference between strategic silence and being unable to speak because of anxiety. One comes from confidence, the other comes from fear. So here's what I want you to try. The next time you're in a group conversation, resist the urge to jump in immediately. Just listen, observe, notice what happens when you stay quiet. You might be surprised by how much power there is in simply being present without performing. Drop a comment if you're naturally quiet and this resonated, or if you're someone who talks a lot and this gave you something to think about. And if you want more psychology that gives you actual strategic advantages in life, subscribe. Thanks for watching.